But we've lived in the house we live in now for about 9 years. Before that, we both rented flats separately. If you rent now, or you've ever rented in the past, you will know that if something breaks in your rented place, you tell the person responsible, who does nothing at all, and you learn to live without the thing. That's right, isn't it? When you own somewhere, though, you're responsible. My husband had this great idea when we first moved in together. I have like a rolling jobs list to document on his computer of all the things that needed doing to the house. Some of those things we could do ourselves. Some of those things he would need to ring a bigger boy who would come and do it for us. And one day he shared the document with me. He said, just in case you want to add any jobs to the list. So I scrolled right to the bottom and I just wrote cunnilingus. And he spotted it. He said, yeah, as long as you don't mind a Polish handyman coming to do it. And I said, not at all. He said, to be fair, it's sort of already on the list. It's just under clearing the gutters. But I've been married a long time, different men. Let's move on. And thinking a bit about relationships, I've got a theory, see if you agree with this. My theory is that most relationships are made up of one person who does chores as they see them arise, and another person who needs to be asked to do chores. Would you agree with that? Yeah? So I'm the doer in our family. My husband will do anything I ask, but does often need to be asked. So I found a way around this. If this is helpful in your relationship, please use it. I do not mind. What I do is I make every chore a challenge. So I say to him, bet you can't bring in all the shopping from the car in one go. And he goes, of course I can. He does it, and I tick it off my list. Hooray! I say, I bet you can't empty the dishwasher in less than 2 minutes. And he goes, I bet I bloody can. I use a stopwatch to make it more fun for him, you know. It's basically like a really domestic version of the Crystal Maze, where I am Richard O'Brien or Richard Ayoade if you're very young, and my husband is in a big glass sphere. Also in the sphere is a washing machine and a tumble dryer. Against the clock, to win another month of marriage, he has to take clothes out of the washing machine and deduce whether or not they can be tumble dried. And it's not as straightforward as looking at the label, because nobody knows what the fucking symbols mean. There's only one symbol we all know, and I think the reason it's universal is because it's so damn important, and that's the hand one. We all know the hand one, don't we? Because that means wave goodbye to your lovely top, because it's about to get fucking shrunk. Oh, the venue asked me to read something aloud to you at the very start of the show, and I totally forgot, so let's do that now. Obviously, we live in a slightly different world now, as we all know, so let's just read this, get it out the way, and then we can crack on with the jokes. So this is from the venue. Warning. This show contains moderate swearing, sexual references, and some upsetting scenes. That's a great response. That's why we came. Another thing I really fancied a little stool in the bathroom. That sounds really bad. That sounds bad. Doesn't it sound bad? Like a table, I suppose. One of my luxuries is I like having a cup of tea when I'm in the bath, and I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a special place to put my cup of tea? And maybe I could also put a book or a magazine on there to read in the bath. How nice would that be? And then, depending on where I position the table or the stool, I could maybe reach the book or magazine from the toilet. Now, not everybody will admit to this, but I will raise my hand and say that I like to read on the toilet. Give us a cheer. Any men who like to read on the toilet? Yeah. Any women? Yeah. See, interesting, because one of my friends said to me, you don't tell people you do that, do you? I said, yeah. She said, I don't think you should. I said, why not? She said, I don't know, I don't think it's very ladylike. I said, have you seen who you're talking to? I said, and anyway, I'm not sure what you mean, because as far as I'm aware, there's nothing ladylike about doing a shit. Picture the scene. I'm sitting down, my legs are apart, my elbows are resting on my knees. I might be sweating. If it's a hard one, I could have taken my top off. But to make up for all of that, I do it exactly the same, but to make it ladylike, I do it all in a fucking bonnet. Those two words aren't together often enough for their fucking bonnet. You're never going to get that inner Pride and Prejudice, are you? Why, Mr. Darcy, what do you think of me fucking bonnet? I tend not to see my friends of an evening because I work most nights, so I see my friends, we go out for lunch, and I really like it. I like going out for lunch with my friends. Went out with one of my friends, she's lovely, but she's a bit of a moaner. Went out for a perfectly nice meal, she complained about the food, so we had to send the food back. And I made some hilarious remark about how the chef's now going to go and wank in a soup. She came out with the best answer ever. She just went, oh, good, I haven't had sex in ages. I thought, surely she doesn't think that merely ingesting spunk is the same as having actual sex. If only it was that straightforward. You know, when you can't really be bothered, just bung it in a smoothie, I'll have it later on. Could be one of me 5 a day. But then my friend starts telling me about his sexual exploits, and he said he'd had sex on a kitchen sink. He said, have you ever had sex on a kitchen sink? And I wanted to tell him that I thought it sounded incredibly unhygienic. But I didn't. I just went, no. And I got home and I thought, am I a prude? I don't think I am a prude, but maybe I am. So I said to my boyfriend, would you like to have sex on a kitchen sink? I get the impression it's supposed to be a bit more in the moment, you know, rather than like when you've done those dishes, get your arse on there. Because we're very well matched, my boyfriend said, why would I want to have sex on a kitchen sink? That'd be like eating your dinner out of a shoe. Then my friend said he'd had sex on a plane. He said, have you ever had sex on a plane? I said, I've not had sex on a sink, and that's in me flat. What do you reckon? And he said, I've had sex on a plane. He said, that's dangerous, that's exciting. I said, well, I suppose it is. But I think having a massive shit with a queue outside on a plane is more dangerous. And I've definitely done that. And from the clapping, I can tell I'm not the only one. We're all members of the Pile High Club. Do you also have very heavy periods? Not today, not any danger in the front row there. I wouldn't do that to you. Do you have very heavy periods? You know the old saying, it's like trying to get blood out of a stone? I think they should update that. I think it now should be, it's like trying to get blood out of a mattress topper. In a hotel. To have very heavy periods. I feel like at the beginning of my period, it's quite tricky to explain this. At the beginning of my period, it's a little bit like my arse is in competition. Well, some of you already know what I mean. That's good, that's helpful. It's a little bit like my arse is going, oh, are we having a big clear out? I'll have a big clear out as well if that's all right. Nothing could shock me. Nothing could shock me. If I turned around, looked down that toilet, there was a dead rat just floating, I'd be like, sure, makes sense. The cast of The Walking Dead just climbing out. The girl off the ring popping up over the side. Sometimes I look down that toilet, it looks like the first 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. I did say there would be some upsetting scenes. But I've got a friend who's a doctor, she's a brilliant woman, and we were having one of those lovely catch-up chats, you know when you haven't seen a friend in ages, and you've got the kettles constantly on, and you're putting the world to rights. It was one of those, and it was lovely. And we ended up talking, I don't know how we got onto this subject, but we ended up talking about how much toilet roll we use. I think I'd been bragging. When my boyfriend's round at mine, we can rattle through a 9-pack in a week. And she said to me, you're using too much. I went, what? Is there like a shortage? And she went, no, but you're using too much. And then she went, dry, wet, dry. I said, what? Dry, wet, dry. Dry, use a bit of toilet roll. Wet, one of those moist toilet tissues. I don't know what that mime is. That's scary because I'm quite clearly doing somebody else's arse, aren't I? I'm very thorough, though, isn't it? So that's wet, and then pat it dry with a bit of toilet roll. And I said, you know what, I'm 36, I've been doing this a long time, how about I just stick to my usual way? And she said, and I hope this is how she talks to her patients, she said, your arsehole will fall off. But you know, there are those times when you run out of toilet roll, and obviously the worst time to run out of toilet roll is when you really fucking need some toilet roll. Give us a cheer if you've ever used something else because you had to. Oh, quite a lot of you. What kind of things have you used? Shout out. A sock. Who's that? Give us a wave. Where you love, there you are. Happy as bloody Larry there, aren't you? Okay, so you used a sock. Did you do it like that? Oh, did you put it on your hand? Oh, like the saddest ever glove puppet. I don't want to. I don't want to. So well done, pet. What else have we used? Shout out. What was what was that? A shower head. Oh my God. Did you have to like? Oh, did you have to paw your cheeks? Oh my God. Was that in your own shower? Was it in your own shower? Oh, that's all right then, good. Imagine, oh no, it's just at me friends. Oh, he's here. Oh, hiya. Didn't tell you about this, did I? So we've got a sock and a shower head. What other? Spare pants. Somebody who said spare pants. Somebody here, that's a good answer. It's another good reason to carry spare pants. What was the fella over here? Sandpaper. Do we believe him? No. Is it... What was that, love? You were on the beach. And what? And that's where... I know that's where sand comes from, but... I don't know if there are many DIY places on the beach. Oh, you know that beach that's got all those B&Qs? Any other things we've used? Your hand. Any others? What was that? Your boss's performance review. High five, fella. Well done. Excellent, excellent work. There was a lady the other day, and I use the term lady as loosely as it's possible to use it, said that she had used a sandwich. I don't know about you lot, but I can't eat Nutella anymore. You told me yours, I'll tell you mine. When it happened to me, I was in my flat, and I thought, I was sort of thinking about the other rooms, visualising the other rooms, thinking, what on earth could I use? Never been posh enough for kitchen roll, but I've always had tissues in. But I had run out of tissues at the same time, and I was thinking, sod's law, what on earth can I use? And then I remembered that I'd recently treated myself to some flash wipes. Yes, it stung. Yes, it was very lemony. It was also the cleanest I've ever felt. And to be fair, the advert does say that they're for stubborn rings, so... But I did a show in Belfast, and a fella shouted out an answer, but I couldn't quite... it was just a noise, because he had such a strong accent, I could just make out a noise. I just heard, wah-wah, that's all I heard, wah-wah. And I said, what, you wiped your ass on a werewolf, did you, love? Turned out what he actually used was wire wool. I think I'd rather take my chances with a fucking werewolf. What I wanted was somewhere that makes me feel the same way my parents' house makes me feel. They've lived in the same house since they got married 47 years ago. Exactly, and this is what I wanted. I wanted somewhere that I could build memory after memory after memory. Now, I was there sort of late summer last year with my sister, the four of us just sitting around with cups of tea around the kitchen table, putting the world to rights. It was lovely. And at the exact same moment, my sister and I both heard the ice cream man. And it was like no time had passed. No words were exchanged between my sister and I. She shot me a look that said, do you want one? And I shot back a look that said, of course I fucking do. She picked up her purse and she ran out of the house. When she came back in, she told me there'd be no children anywhere near the ice cream man, just a 44-year-old woman running towards it. He'd started to pull away. She had to flag him down. And As she flagged him down, he shouted out of the window, "Come on, missus, you can do it." She came back in with 3 ice creams, one for me, one for her, and one for me dad, because my mum doesn't really like sweet things. And she said, "Where's Dad gone?" Because my dad was no longer in the room. I said, "He's gone to the toilet." Now, I don't know what your dads are like, but my dad can lose a good 20 minutes, half an hour in there. So she started to sort of lick her ice cream and kind of tidy his, do you know what I mean? Licking hers normally, but then spinning this one round. She was like a fucking machine, licking and tidying, licking and tidying, licking and tidying. This one started to get quite small, and I said, "Oh, that's not fair on Dad." And she said, "Well, what do you want me to do about it?" I said, "I think you should take it to him while he's on the toilet." And she said, "Well, if I'm going, you're coming with us." So we go upstairs together. Mum and Dad's toilet is separate from their bathroom. And I said to my sister, "Before you go any further, you must promise me one thing." She said, "What's that?" I said, "You must promise me that when you open that door, you keep your eyes tight shut, because you will never be able to unsee what you are about to say." She promised. She knocked on the door. My dad said, "Come in," like it was an office. And with her eyes tight shut, she opened the door and handed in an ice cream. And my dad said, "I cannot take that." And we thought, quite rightly, because eating ice cream while you're doing this shit is disgusting, isn't it? But my dad said, "I'm reading the paper, my hands are full." But if I did get an animal, I'd have to be careful, because whenever I had animals as a child, I always loved them a little bit too much. There's a name for people like me, it's a hamster squeezer. Look at his little face. When I was about 7, I had a little dog and I loved it so much. Have you ever stroked a dog so hard you could see the whites of its eyes? Then when you stroke along its back, its little back legs buckle because of the pressure. I do worry about my boyfriend. Because I love him so much. Love him so much. No. Look at his little face. Is Spunk supposed to be red? No. That's a great reaction. The women are laughing and the blokes are going, "Don't do that, that's not fucking funny." Now is probably quite a good time to tell you that I'm a lot ruder than I am on the telly. So brace yourselves. And I said to my husband, I said, "Horses do more than you." He said, "What?" I said, "Horses do more than you." It's true, I've got a friend, she's got a horse. Her horse has a special lady who comes out just to wash his knob. I mean, how do you get into that? And by that, I don't mean how do you get into that. Also, how at the end of your tether as a careers advisor are you before you slam shut your folder and go, "How are you a horse's cocks?" It's done for medical reasons, it's done for health reasons. They do it because they have to clear out what are called smeg beans. Which are exactly what you think they are. But don't they also sound a little bit like something you could get from IKEA? I only went in for a nest of tables, came out with a massive bag of smeg beans. I was trying to explain to my husband what they were, and I sort of nervously Googled it. You know, Google has a habit of finishing the rest of the search for you. And I typed in smeg beans, and Google went, "Smeg beans grinder." And I was like, how bad are they? Like, you have to grind them off. And then I realised it's a posh coffee machine, isn't it? Smeg beans grinder. Oh. Also explains why John Lewis had it in 4 different colours. I did a preview in a place called Preston. Are we aware of Preston? I parked my car. I don't know if this is a good indication of what people are like in Preston, but I parked my car outside of the venue, and as I walked into the venue, a man offered me anal sex. So I was late. I was going to say I'll tell you a bit about me, but I think I just have. It's lovely to be here, though. It's a nice temperature in here, isn't it? We'll get warmer as we go on, obviously, the lights and whatnot. I respond in quite a peculiar way to the heat, I think, mostly sort of here. I realised I aimed that just at you guys in the front there, didn't I? Sorry about that. Hey, upstairs can have a go. There you go. Down there gets what I call claggy. Anybody else got a good word for that? Anybody else? Moist. Who said moist? Moist is a good word. What was that one? Sticky. Oh, there was a lady the other day said, what you've got there is LDF. I said, what does LDF stand for? She said, long day Fanny. When I said Claggy and Preston, a man said, oh no, we call that ready. But what I do when it gets moist and sticky, I just do a plie. I'm not a massive ballet dancer, but if I was a ballet dancer, I would clearly be a massive one. I just do that. You only get a couple of seconds relief because it mostly just slicks back together. I did a show in Edinburgh and a lady at the back of the room shouted out, you need to use some talc. And I thought, surely that just forms a paste. What else do we do to relax? Let's get people shouting out.
Self-gratification.
Okay, do you just tell yourself you're brilliant or do you have a wank? No, it's interesting because I did a show in Birmingham and I asked a man there how he relaxed when he got in from work and he said one word. The beginning of the word sounded really happy and midway through the word it just changed and sounded desperately sad. I said, how do you relax when you get in from work? And he went, masturbation. I don't find that very relaxing. Am I sharing too much? I don't find masturbation very relaxing because I'm a bugger for multitasking. I've been known to put my tash cream on and go, I've got 5 minutes, I'll have a quick. You make sure you don't mix your hands up though. And you know what, you get it done on time because if you don't, you can smell burning flesh. And some people are genuinely appalled by that. And other people are going, that's a really good idea. I've got a bit of pop trivia for you. You might not know this. You know Rihanna? You know Rihanna? Yeah. She has insured her legs for $1 million. And I don't really know why. Because I'm pretty sure she's a singer. Yes? Yes, thank you. And I'm almost certain you can do that sitting down. I mean, her legs aren't proper anyway. They don't meet at the top or anything. My mum would say about her, she couldn't stop a pig in an alleyway. Just for the record, I could totally stop a pig in an alleyway. Stop it, stun it, put it in me fucking freezer. I tried to start a new euphemism recently. I don't know if you've ever tried to start a new euphemism. It's quite tricky. This one's not going particularly well. I'll tell you anyway. The euphemism is this. I see there's some leftover pie in the fridge. Which is a euphemism for cunnilingus. There was a few people are explaining cunnilingus to each other. I was trying to think of a mime that I could do, but the only one I could think of was this. But I see there's some leftover pie in the fridge doesn't really work with my fella because he's generally a very hungry man. As soon as he realises that there's no actual pie in the fridge, a light goes out in his eyes. I did the show in Stockton and there was a lady at the front saying, I use that euphemism and I thought, you bugger, it's spreading like wildfire. She said she's put her own sort of spin on it. She says, I see there's some leftover corned beef pie in the fridge. No. If I'm ever going to refer to me nunny as a foodstuff, it's not going to be corned beef. Probably something like Arctic roll. Cold to the touch with a bit of old cake round. I can't quite work out if I've turned you off Arctic roll or just my vagina. So what reasons do you take spare pants? Shout out. Just in case. Bit of a slag, are you, pet? Any other reasons apart from just in case? In case you shit yourself doing a bungee jump. Well done, Flower. He was listening. Good work. Any others? Oh my God, I feel like I'm on a bus. Just women talking at me either side. There was a lady over here. Say again. In case you wet yourself. Are you that sort of age, are you, love? My sister's friend, they were going to do a keep fit class, and she said, well, I'll come, but I cannot do star jumps anymore. Oh, I'm going to the loo. What other reasons do we carry spare pants?
In case the elastic breaks.
Case, say again?
In case the elastic breaks.
Case the elastic breaks. How old are your pants, love? Oh, are they going up and down a lot, are they? Any other reasons why we carry spare pants? A takeaway? Say again? Hold on, I'm telling everybody else. I think I'm telling them right. You bought takeaway soup and the container dissolved. So you ate them out of your pants. I'm not entirely convinced that was soup, love. That might well have... Did somebody give you some lovely warm tomato-flavoured fucking acid? The container dissolved. So you ate them out of your pants. There is another reason why ladies carry spare pants, and it's sort of unspoken, isn't it? There's a few women are looking at me like, fucking keep it that way, bitch. But to be honest, it's the same reason why I don't really like the warm weather. I don't like feeling overly claggy down there. Sometimes when the weather's warm, I don't know if I've started a period. I just got a really sweaty arse crack. There's a lady the other day said that she carried spare pants in case she got lost. I said, what if they got a compass on them? Which would obviously be called twat-nav. But I always get annoyed by my period. I've had my period for over 30 years. I've never wanted children, not a moment, not a flicker. I'm sure a lot of you have got kids and you're having a great time with them, and that's smashing for you. It's not for me. It's not for me at all. The best way I can describe how annoyed I get every time my period starts is like this. Imagine you've got a friend at work. She's called Deborah. She's great. Deborah's got a rabbit hutch, and every month she cleans it out. Puts fresh bedding in, fresh water in the water bottle, fresh food in the food bowl. Looks spotless, amazing, spick and span. And you say to her, Deborah, are you ever going to get a rabbit? She goes, nah, I fucking hate them. That's what periods are to me. I feel like I'm making up the guest bedroom for a visitor that will ruin my fucking life. Enjoy your new baby, madam. Somebody I know was recently having to childproof the house, and I totally picked up the wrong end of the stick. So the little buggers can't get in, or if they do get in, they come to harm. So I did a bit of research, and it turns out advice on how to childproof your house is advice on how to do the opposite as well. Example, 3 foot of electrical cable is enough to endanger a toddler's life. That's good to know. It also recommended that you teach your children how to respond to fire, which sounded like a fun game. So I reckon a combination of the following things is enough to keep the little shits out of my house. Forks in front of every socket. Aww. Multicoloured beakers filled with bleach. And bonny sparkly things at the bottom of your pond. Ooh, splash. That's what childproofing means to me. friend of mine had a baby girl recently, and I wanted to buy a present because it's a nice thing to do, isn't it? But I don't know why you're supposed to buy babies. But a different friend who has adult children, she said, oh, there's only one rule. You buy her something to grow into. That's the rule. So I bought her a bra. But I wasn't just given this book. I was told about sex by my family. And when I say a family, I mean, you know, like your mum. I don't mean like a special uncle. But when I was little, I was quite creative, but incredibly shy. And I used to write poems and stories, and the only way I could perform them aloud was to do so from behind a curtain. Just accept it, it's me childhood. So I'd stand behind a curtain and read my poem aloud, hoping that my family were still in the room. And if I was a good girl, I got a banana. So when it came to finding out about sex, my mum said, do you want to go behind the curtain? And I thought, if she gives us a banana at the end of this, that'll just be really weird. But you know, the next stage of sex advice, the next stage when you find out that it's not just for making babies, you know, that it's also for making money. Getting your own way, that sort of thing. My mum gave me one line of advice and one line only. She said, remember, you don't have to put anything in your mouth you don't want to. Then she made me eat broccoli, which felt like double standards.
You have to remember that kids' parties when I was a child, very different to kids' parties now. For example, I have a friend who has an 8-year-old daughter. For her last birthday party, they hired somebody to do manicures and also a hot tub. So what the fuck are you doing? You're not Kardashians. But if you've got little ones now, maybe this is the kind of elaborate party that you have to put on. Maybe you hire a venue. Maybe somebody does the catering. Maybe a man you don't know comes in a weird outfit and plays with your children for money. You can call him a clown if you like, but my description is still valid. Come on in, kids. Pedo the clown has arrived. We're pretty sure he's all right, but don't sniff his flower just in case. At least you would know if he was getting any of the kids to touch him in the wrong area, because it makes this sound. I fully expect at some point on this tour to start getting really angry emails from clowns, which I will then forward on to the police. I found another one for you. You're welcome. Did a show in Antwerp a while back, in Antwerp in Belgium, and just after I honked, a man on the front row, really quiet, really sinister looking, just went, do it again. So for him and for you. But I told you I don't have children. Give us a cheer if you have got kids. And if you haven't, more energy, I like it. I don't have children, and it's by choice. I just don't really like them. I've never been very maternal, apart from the tiny kittens. There's a reason right there I shouldn't have fucking kids. I'm sorry, it just popped. But I think if you ask any woman who doesn't have kids what would worry them about having kids, the answer would always be childbirth. It's quite a reasonable thing to worry about, isn't it? Because what you're basically doing is you're forcing a person out. That's what you're doing, you're forcing a person out. I've never forced a person out. I forced a couple in. With a shoehorn. No, it was just me thumb. I think one of the reasons I'm not very good with kids, I was never around them as a child. I was always the youngest. My mum had my sister, then she had me, then she had her tubes tied. And when she went to the hospital for the appointment, the nurse said, are you sure? And she said, yeah, I've had a chat with my husband. We only wanted 2, we got 2, like to go ahead with the procedure. And the nurse said, what if one of them dies? And my mum was like, it's not like I just want any 2. Well, we've got a set of bunk beds. It seems a shame to waste one. But I do have some friends who are mothers, and mothers do a brilliant job, don't get me wrong, but the kind of mothers that I don't like, and you all know one of these, are the kind of mothers who have 4 or 5 children and who think that you don't know how to do anything because you don't have kids. It can be the simplest of tasks, you know, the sort of thing, I know how to open a tin of beans because I've got children. Do you know how you'd know how to open a tin of beans? Because you don't have children, do you? No.
Oh. But I could probably open a tin of beans with me fanny, but I bet you fucking couldn't. With a ring pull as well. I say that so you don't think I've got a big jaggedy fanny. But I was in a shop and this little boy came running over, maybe about 5-year-old, came running over, put his hand in mine and shouted, "Mommy!" And I thought, ooh, I sometimes forget me keys, but I think I'd remember that. And then his dad came over and I thought, wonder if this is like the best chat-up line ever. And his dad's going to go, no, that's not your mammy. Remember, your mammy left us because my willy's too big. But I had to go to family planning just before Christmas. Oh my God. I was the oldest by 20 years. I was mortified. And the lady said, "Do you want some free condoms while you're here?" And I thought, out for out. Just before Christmas, probably use them as stocking fillers or something. And she said, "Would you like flavoured ones?" And I thought, yeah, bugger, this is advanced compared to when I used to go. And I said, "Look, love, I'm 35. The only flavour I'd want a condom to taste of is cock." Apparently they don't do those. So I had to settle for our two most popular lines, which were Lambrini and Greg's Pasties. But pretty much everything I do work-wise is stand-up comedy related. Can't really do anything else. I've tried acting and I'm shit at it, so I'm just going to leave that to the professionals. But a few years ago, my agent said, "Why don't you go and do a voiceover show reel?" So I didn't really know what that was, but I went along to the studio. Fella there, lovely fella. He said, "We'll get you to do some different voices. We'll put them on a CD. Then you can tout it about, see if you can get some voiceover work." Brilliant. First question he asked, he said, "Can you do sexy?" I said, "No." And he went, "Go and have a try." So I had a try and he went, "You sound like you're dying." And then he said, "Can you do bored?" So I tried bored. And he went, "Actually, that's quite sexy. I'm only sexy when I'm bored. But I hope to get fucked good and hard in the post office queue." But in order to sort of improve my acting skills, I was having a bit of a daft carry on with me fella, and I said, "Why don't you shout out emotions and I'll see if I can convey them with me face?" And he went, "OK." So he went, "Happy," and I went. And then he went, "Sad," and I went. And he went, "Surprised," and I went. And then there was a long pause. As it transpired, he had run out of emotions. Until a lovely light bulb moment when his eyes were really wide and he went, "Like you've just seen a monkey." That well-known fourth emotion. But we normally see each other a few days a week, but sometimes if work schedules clash, it might be 7 or 8 days before we see each other again. And we miss each other, of course we do. So what we do then is we'll speak on the phone a lot, obviously. We'll text each other a lot. And sometimes we'll send emails to each other with photographs attached. Not that kind of photograph. Look what you're missing. No. You might think this is quite sad, but I think it's quite sweet. And I'm slightly wearing my heart on my sleeve even telling you this. The most recent one I sent him was a picture of a sad kitten. And above it I'd written, "This is how I feel." And this was the Friday, and when we saw each other again on the Monday, and he sent back a picture of a happy dog. And above it, he'd written, "But this is how you'll be on Monday." And then I looked properly at the photograph, and the dog had its leg in a cast. It went straight from being quite a sweet message to an actual physical threat.
Start buying stuff online, didn't we? One of the things I had to start buying online was sanitary towels. Give me a woo if you're more of a tampon kind of gal. Yeah. Anybody like a sanitary towel? Anybody favour a moon cup? Yeah, a couple of people. I don't think my husband definitely knows what moon cups are, because I mentioned them to him and he went, mooncup.com. It's not a really clever way they found of you being able to send some menstrual blood to your Auntie Jenny for her birthday. Oh, look, it says you can personalise it. Let's write Jenny and all the clots. we're loyal, we're loyal to brands that we like. I could spot the kind of sanitary towel I've always used at 100 yards in a Superdrug. That's the sort of test you should be doing at the fucking optician. I'd have nailed that. Do I know what they're called when I have to type them into a computer? Do I shite? I went on the Boots app and I thought, how many different kinds of sanitary towels can there possibly be? Turns out, a bazillion. And they all have sort of key words on them, like discreet, sensitive, pro-fresh, instant dry, and long. And I thought, yes, I'll have all of those things, please. Turns out it's very much an either-or situation. I thought, who is choosing between these things? Would you like them to be discreet? No, I don't mind if people can tell. Would you like them to be sensitive? No, I don't mind if me fanny's red raw. Would you like them to be pro-fresh? No, I don't mind if I smell of roadkill. Would you like them to be instant dry? No, I prefer to be always wet. I like to feel like I've either just pissed myself or I'm super turned on. Would you like them to be long? No, as long as it covers the spout. I don't know what it's called. One thing I didn't know is that sanitary towels are now sized, and I don't mean the size of the pad itself, I mean the size of the person wearing it. And I thought, oh my God, we as women get judged on so many different things. And now I'm about to be judged on the size of me twat. It's a matter of time before Grazia's telling us what size twat is fashionable next spring. But there is good news for the fatties amongst us, because it is based solely on the size of your thigh gap. Gap, gap, gap. What fucking gap? I've barely got a knee gap. Although there was a moment fairly recently when I thought I might actually have a thigh gap. I walked past a mirror in brown knickers and there was a chink of light between my thighs and I thought, fucking hell, I have got a thigh gap. On closer inspection, it was a bit of silver foil of a two-stick Kit Kat. My thighs are flush against each other as suspected. I once caught a fork between my thighs in a restaurant. I think whatever you've got down there, you shouldn't be judged on the size of it. That's not fair, is it? Having said that, you know how men with big dicks... Give us a cheer. No, don't. You know how men with big dicks sometimes use lube? Do men with small dicks use chalk? It's a good question, isn't it? There's a man the other day said, no talc. Genuinely wasn't expecting somebody to answer. And also, talc has a different image to me, because talc's like that. Why am I thinking chalk like a fucking snooker cue? Blow on that, will you, love, before we get cracking. Just blow on it.
But a friend of mine... actually, no, I'm not going to call him that. It's not appropriate. I'm going to call him a male acquaintance. Let's do that. A male acquaintance of mine with whom I have never had a dalliance said to me, you know what? If you lost a couple of stone... I said, the rest of this better be a fucking equation. If you lost a couple of stone, we could probably go out. I said, only if the couple of stone I lost was me fucking head. From the flat to the house, I had bits and bobs of furniture, not much, but I had some stuff, and I was trying to work out what would best go where. And I said to me fella, God, I wish I had a tape measure. He said, what do you need a tape measure for? I said, I just want to know if that unit will fit in that alcove. And he said, well, I can sort that out for you. I said, I don't want you to move it. He said, no, I can work it out for you. And I said, have you got a tape measure? He said, no, but I've just got like an instinct about these things. And I thought, fucking instinct. Let's have a look at your instinct, pet. And I said, go on then. So this is genuinely what he did. He went like this. Yeah, that'll fit. I said, is that it? You could at least got your cock out and done 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches. But I was on holiday with my boyfriend last year and he lifted me up like in a romantic fashion, you know, and put me down again, obviously, in a different place. Otherwise that would just be weird, wouldn't it? But I had to guess the way to the lady stall at the fairground. Too fucking much. And when he put me back down, because I'd been reading a bit of Jane Austen on holiday, I came over all sort of... like I needed a fan. And I said, was I very heavy? And he's supposed to follow the lead and say something along the lines of, why, you weighed no more than a dried leaf. Well, he didn't. He went, manageable.
She's the brilliant comedian everyone's chattering about. It's Sarah Millican.
Hello. Oh, somebody just wooed. That's quite terrifying. My mum must be in. Hello. It's lovely to be here. It's amazing. What a beautiful theatre. It's lovely to be here. I drove here today, and I've only been driving 3 years. And when I passed my test, my dad's quite a practical man, and he said, there's 3 things you always need to have in the boot of your car. You need a blanket, you need a shovel, and you need a flask. And he's right, because whenever I've killed a man, I'm always parched. Tea, that would work now. But I live on my own. I do like living on my own. But I always worry about, like, if I'm on my own and somebody breaks in, what do I do? What do I hit them with? I've got to think of these things. And I talked to a couple of my friends, and I asked my first friend, and she said, oh, I don't really know. And I said, well, what would normally be to hand? And she went, empty bottles. I said, I don't really know if you'd notice if somebody broke in. I don't care who you are. Shut the door on your way out. I feel a bloody draft. By my other friend, I said, what would you hit somebody with? She said, I've got a rounders bat down the side of my bed. I mean, for protection. But she's been told by a policeman that that's not allowed. It's classed as an offensive weapon. The only way she's allowed to have a rounders bat down the side of her bed is if it's accompanied by something it would normally accompany. So now she's got a rounders bat and a rounders ball as well. And I'm the same because I've got a massive knife and a massive fork. So if somebody breaks in with a big lump of steak, I'm champion. But I often do my food shopping late at night because I'll be driving home from a show or from a gig and I'll go to the 24-hour supermarket. And I went to one recently. 2 weeks ago, I went to Asda 2 in the morning. And I just needed a few bits, just the sort of things I need to live my life, you know, microwavable dinners and tash cream. So a lady laughed particularly loud upstairs there. So I get to the till, 2 in the morning, get to the till. I've been driving for 3 hours, I'm quite tired. And there's no tills on. Of course, there's no tills on. There's never any tills on. You've got to go to the self-service. And I don't know about you lot, but I don't like the self-service because I used to work in a shop. And I'm really good at this. And the last time I did it, I got paid and a uniform and discount. I'm not happy. So I get up with my basket. I start ringing things in. First couple of things go through quite well, without a hitch, seamlessly. And then the third thing, it just said, you didn't put that in the basket. Yes, I did. I did. It's an 8-pound cardigan. How heavy do you think it is? But unfortunately, the machines don't respond to this face. So I had to get a lady over. So the lady came over, she did whatever she has to do, and it was all fine again. And I got on a bit of a roll. And I got maybe 5 or 6 things in, buzzing and bagging and buzzing and bagging and buzzing and bagging. And then he came up with a blank screen that said, check and wait. And we're like, I haven't got anything on the scales. I'm buying tash cream and microwavable dinners. There's no need to put anything on the scales. I'm really tired. I just want to go home. Why has it got check and wait? And then I realised that my belly was on the scales. And I was getting so tired that I just gone, oh. But I didn't want to hang around to find out how much my belly would cost if I wanted to buy it back. And I'm certainly not supple enough to get it on the bagging area. I just put it down as Satsumas and legged it.
I'm lucky enough to have a lovely boyfriend. He's very sweet. He's the nicest person I've ever met. But he does have asthma. I told my friend, and she went, oh, and first of all, I thought she did as well. She said, I love men who've got asthma. I said, why? She said, they're so sensitive. I said, yeah, to dust. But whenever I'm abroad, I really miss him. So what I do is I go on Skype. You know, Skype, this thing where you can see each other through your computer screen. It makes home feel that little bit closer if you can see their faces as well as hear their voices. And the last time I was away for 6 weeks. And I missed him terribly. So I was Skyping him every day. And one of the days I got really quite flat and quite down and I just wanted to go home. And when I rang him, there was such a well of emotion in here that when his face came up on the screen, I didn't say hello. The first thing I said was, you're too far away. So he moved the webcam. I didn't have the heart to tell him I meant geographically. He just went like that. Is that better, love? You've been lovely, thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to record one of the extras just before we start the next half of the show. Now, if anybody's had one of the DVDs and has seen any of the DVDs before this, you'll know that we have kind of a running theme. So the running theme started on the first DVD. What happened was we were watching through the edit and it all looked great. We were very happy with it. It was released. Some lovely people bought it and then told me on Twitter that at 37 minutes, there was a man asleep in the audience. I was talking to a lovely lady, and the man behind her was like this. Just fucking spark out. So what we decided to do on the second DVD was to put somebody asleep at 37... Not put them to sleep, that sounded bad. To place a sleeping person at 37 minutes. So it became a running joke. So we filmed somebody nice person volunteered to be the sleeping person. Everybody laughed around them. We got a nice shot of it. And then when we were doing the edit of the second DVD, we found an actual sleeping person. So we put the actual sleeping person in at 37 minutes, and then the other person who had volunteered became an extra or an Easter egg or something like that. So then on the last DVD, the third one, we thought we have to do something again. So what we decided to have was one person laughing while the whole audience was asleep. So we did that, and that became an extra. Now, in this one, what we're going to do is I'm going to be the sleeping person. We're just trying to mix it up every time. We've run out of options, so now I'm going to be sleeping my own fucking show. To be fair, I've heard the jokes quite a few times now. So I'm going to come out, and I'm going to come, and I think we've organised somebody to come. We've nice fella there has volunteered to be the one that moves out of the way. So I'm going to come down and sit in this nice man's place, and you guys will all do a nice laugh, and I'll be asleep. That's what we're going to do. So while to cover me sort of coming down here, I'm going to bring out lovely Tom, who you loved before, and he's going to kind of direct it. Is that all right? Please welcome back to the stage, Tom Allen. Thank you.
Hello, are you all enjoying the show? Yeah. Good, it's great, isn't it? So I feel like we could... Oh, we're here already? Now, so Sarah's going to find her seat in the audience, and Liz is escorting her there with the torch. They all love her, not just you. No, yeah, get out. No, this is not... Sorry, I'm supposed to be talking to distract you from this boring... just looking at it. Oh, what are they doing there? Hello. Yep. Oh, that's right. Yep, all in there. It's nice. There's lots of leg room. Yes, they're lucky, aren't they? What do you think of the seats? Comfy, yeah. Sometimes they're quite snug on you. Oh, no. Don't make it sad. You can all see him, right? So, what we're going to do is so after three, is that right? Oh, yes, sorry. So Sarah's going to be asleep and you're all going to be laughing. So Sarah is just going to quick practice the sleeping pose. Oh, yeah, it's good. If you can't see it, and you'll see it on the DVD if you watch it, but as an impersonation, Sarah's basically just going like this. So what you're going to do after 3 then is do a big laugh. Have I got that? That's right, isn't it? Yeah. So everybody, Jess, you're happy? Yeah. So Sarah, sleep. It's like a Darren Brown show. That's quite useful as well. So now do after 3, do a big laugh like it's the funniest thing you've ever heard. So after 3, 1, 2, 3. And now, okay, we'll do one more. I don't talk at the end. Yep, have a good cough. And so yeah, now we'll do it just laughing. Let's just try just laughing. So after 3, so everybody ready? No clapping this time. Just laugh like it's the funniest thing. So after 3, 1, 2, 3. You're happy? Jess is happy? Good. Okay, so that's that bit done. So, Sarah, you can now wake up, Sarah. Edge fast. Don't touch her. She's very important. She's made of porcelain. Touch her. That's Barry taking her back. Barry's the tour manager. You might like to give him a round of applause. He's very handsome.
I don't get in the newspapers very much, which is a good thing because I'm a very private person. But a few months ago, there's a story about me in the Irish Mirror. Started in the Irish Mirror and I moved across to all of the UK tabloids as well. And the story was this. The story was that I'd been on a huge health kick and had lost a dramatic amount of weight. Now, I can't see all of your faces, but the ones I can see down here, you're right to have this expression on them. Huh? I've not been on a health kick, I've not lost any weight. In fact, I'm fatter than I've ever been, and I could not give less of a shit. How they came to the conclusion, their story, if you like, they found a photograph I was in, a sort of group shot that was taken at the end of a TV record. They compared that to a photograph a friend had taken of me, and they cross-referenced those two photographs with a third one from my Instagram account. So the group shot was a photograph taken at the end of an episode of Never Mind the Buzzcocks, and I had my arm around Lethal Bizzle. Now, if you're over 20, just pretend I said David Essex. Doesn't matter who that was. But whenever you've got your arm around somebody, everything lifts up. It's very unflattering, and of course, I don't get to okay that photograph. The one they compared it to, the one a friend had taken of me, was nice, because your friends take nice photos of you because your friends like you. And also, your friends don't mind if you take their phones off them and delete all of the ones you fucking hate. So they compared those two and they cross-referenced them with a third one from my Instagram account, which was of some Satsumas. I shit you not, ladies and gentlemen, this is journalism today. Now, what I didn't like about it was the story wasn't Fat Woman Gets Thin, which is not news anyway. The story was Fat Woman Gets Better, and that boils my piss. The idea that women are told by the media that only one body shape is allowed and everything else is disgusting and needs rectifying is something I, quite frankly, will not fucking tolerate. If I'm on the telly and I stand beside any woman at all, I feel huge. I feel like a wardrobe. But if I wander around Asda, I blend in. If I stand beside any woman on the telly, say Amanda Holden, lovely woman, if I stand beside Amanda Holden, she looks like my next meal. Oh, has my Deliveroo arrived? Sorry, I didn't see you there, Amanda. You shouldn't hold a plastic fork like that. It's very confusing for people like me. Oh, I'll pick up what I think is a crisp off the floor. Turns out it's Kylie fucking Minogue. She's got to get to a show, guys. Let's give her a hand. The thing is, I've got a belly. Give us a cheer if you've got a belly. Some of your bellies might be bigger than mine, some of them might be smaller than mine, doesn't fucking matter. What I don't understand is why I'm supposed to hate my belly. I quite like my belly, it's full of things I love. I do, I quite like it. Sometimes I rub it like this for comfort. Now, if this was pregnant, people would want to touch it, wouldn't they? If this was pregnant, people would ask about the sex, and I'd say it's pretty much the same way you do, just a bit more slappy. when's it due? And I'd say, sort of depends what I've had for my tea. If it's bread, I'd stand well back if I were you. To be fair, it was once scanned, but that was by accident at a self-service checkout. There's no mystery to it, there's no magic to it. The reason I've got a belly is because I like to eat food. It's really that straightforward. Have you ever been in a restaurant and ordered 1 dessert and 2 spoons? 1 dessert and 2 spoons, so you can get it in faster? What I say to you, if you've got a belly, next time you see your belly, maybe you're getting ready for bed after the show, maybe you're in the shower in the morning, whenever it is, just give it a little comfort and rub. And just say to yourself, some people are beach body ready, and some of us are Christmas body ready. I do genuinely worry about people who are beach body ready at Christmas, because they're like, oh, God, I've just had a matchmaker and I'm stuffed. And I'm like, well, I've been training for this all year, get out me fucking way. I do sometimes get myself in a bit of a tizzy about these things, though. Do you ever start a conversation with your partner with the words, you know what? And they know just to shut the fuck up. I had one of those very conversations about this exact thing with my husband quite recently. I said to him, you know what? I said, you know what? When I'm on the telly, I feel like a fucking giant sometimes. I feel like a fucking giant. I said, you know what? I bet next time I'm on one of those chat shows like Graham Norton or Jonathan Ross, they'll have all the Hollywood stars lined up on the sofa, the teeny tiny Hollywood stars all lined up on the sofa. Then when it's my turn to come out, they won't say my name. No, they'll all just stand up and go, fee, fi, all their wine glasses will ripple like in Jurassic fucking Park, and I won't get to sit on that sofa. No, they'll just open a window and it'll be my massive fucking eye. One thing I don't like, and this might come across overly mean, I don't want it to, but it might come across that way. I don't like a skinny massage therapist. The one I use at the moment is about my size, maybe a little bit bigger. I don't like the skinny ones. They've never said anything to me, but in my mind, when they're massaging me, they're doing this. I'm gonna need more time. It's a bigger surface area. There's an inner monologue going on up here. So outside I'm the picture of composure, but in here it's going crazy. And it depends on where she starts. If she starts at the bottom, I'll be like, oh, tickly feet, tickly feet, tickly feet. Oh, she's gone up to the bit where I've got broken veins on the back of my leg. I don't like that. Oh, too close to me, Fanny, too close to me, Fanny, too close to me, Fanny. So I'm lying there, covered and happy. Very different version of Snow White than we're used to. And the massage ends. And she said to me, they always do this, right? They put on like a chocolatey voice. And she said, just relax, there's plenty of time. There's absolutely no rush. Please just stay relaxed. There's so much time. There's no need for you to rush. Please, there's so much time. I just want you to stay relaxed. What she didn't know is that I'd been dying for fart for 40 minutes. The door had barely clicked shut when I let out the loudest, most trombonious fart you've ever heard. Remember, I was covered in oil. It's like the Salvation Army band had popped in. And I'm right in the middle of potentially the best fart of my life when she came back in with a glass of water.